Did you know some of the foods you eat every single day could be secretly speeding up aging, damaging your heart, and even stealing years from your life? After 50, your body changes in ways you might not even realize, and the wrong foods could make the difference between living strong and healthy or struggling with endless health problems. In the next few minutes, we'll uncover the foods that might be harming you more than helping, and most importantly, what to eat instead to stay energized, sharp, and independent for years to come. You'll be shocked when you find out what's on this list. When you cross the age of 50, something subtle but powerful begins to shift in the way your body responds to food. You may not notice it immediately. One day you wake up and realize you don't feel as light as you used to. The same breakfast that once gave you energy now leaves you feeling heavy. The late-night snacks you used to enjoy without a second thought now keep you up with indigestion. What's happening isn't your imagination. After 50, metabolism slows, hormones change, and your organs, your heart, liver, kidneys, are no longer working with the same speed and resilience they once had. This doesn't mean your best days are behind you. It simply means your body is asking you to be wiser. One of the smartest steps you can take is to look closely at the foods that no longer serve you, the foods that silently work against your health, and begin letting them go. Let's start with one of the biggest culprits, processed meats. For decades, they've been a part of the American diet. Hot dogs at a ball game, bacon with breakfast, deli slices in a quick sandwich. These foods are convenient, tasty, and deeply tied to our culture. But as we age, the risks they carry outweigh the comfort they bring. Processed meats are loaded with sodium, nitrates, and preservatives. Every slice of ham or salami you put between two pieces of bread is carrying more salt than your body needs. At 20 or 30, your kidneys and arteries can handle the extra load. At 50 or 60, that salt is like adding sandpaper to your arteries. It raises blood pressure, forces the heart to pump harder, and slowly damages the delicate lining of your blood vessels. Research has shown a strong connection between processed meat consumption and higher risks of heart disease, stroke, and even certain cancers, especially colon cancer. And the tricky part, the harm doesn't come overnight. It builds quietly over years, until one day the doctor tells you your blood pressure is too high, or your cholesterol numbers aren't where they should be. Imagine this. You wake up in the morning, and instead of frying bacon or heating a sausage patty, you choose an alternative, maybe scrambled eggs with vegetables or turkey slices that are minimally processed. The taste might feel different at first, but your heart will thank you. By reducing processed meats, you're not just cutting out something harmful. You're opening the door to more energy, clearer arteries, and a longer, healthier life. Remember, the goal isn't to give up flavor, it's to give up the silent damage that sneaks into your body with every salty, greasy bite. Another silent saboteur after 50 is sugary drinks. Sodas, energy drinks, sweetened iced teas, even those so-called healthy flavored waters. These are sugar bombs disguised in a can or bottle. One can of soda contains up to 10 teaspoons of sugar. Think about that. Would you ever sit at your kitchen table and stir 10 spoons of sugar into a glass of water and drink it? Probably not. But when it's packaged in a shiny can with fizz and flavor, it feels harmless. After 50, though, sugar becomes one of the most dangerous ingredients you can put in your body. Here's why. As we age, insulin sensitivity decreases. This means your body doesn't handle sugar as efficiently as it once did. Instead of being burned for quick energy, much of that sugar gets stored as fat, especially around the belly. Belly fat isn't just about appearance, it's a warning sign. It's linked to higher risks of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even Alzheimer's disease. Sugary drinks cause blood sugar spikes and crashes. That afternoon, soda may give you a quick boost, but an hour later you feel even more tired than before. Over time, These roller coaster sugar spikes damage blood vessels, wear out your pancreas, and make it harder for your body to keep blood sugar in a safe range. Think about the average day. Many people over 50 enjoy a soda with lunch or grab a sweetened tea during a road trip. It feels like a small treat, but day after day, it builds into a habit that can steal years of health. Now imagine swapping that soda for sparkling water with a splash of lemon or unsweetened iced tea with fresh mint. At first, it may not give you the same sugary rush, but over time your taste buds adjust. You begin to notice flavors more deeply, and your body responds with more steady energy, better focus, and a lighter feeling after meals. The real danger with sugary drinks is that they don't fill you up. A soda gives you 150 calories, but you'll still be hungry for your sandwich, your chips, your dessert. That's how hidden calories creep into your diet. For someone over 50 who may already be fighting a slower metabolism, this extra sugar is like pouring gasoline on a fire that's already smoldering. The results show up as creeping weight gain, higher blood sugar readings at the doctor's office, and a greater sense of fatigue throughout the day. Cutting out sugary drinks is one of the simplest, most powerful steps you can take toward better health after 50. It's not about denying yourself pleasure. It's about trading a quick hit for lasting energy. Trading a temporary fizz for a longer life. As you look at these foods, processed meats and sugary drinks, you may be thinking, I've eaten these all my life. Is it really that important to stop now? The answer is yes, because the damage these foods do doesn't depend on how old you are. It depends on how much your body can still handle. At 20, you had a margin for error. At 50, that margin narrows. Every choice you make today has a direct effect on your tomorrow. Imagine being able to walk into your 60s, 70s, even 80s with strength, energy, and independence. Imagine playing with your grandkids, traveling without constant fatigue, or simply waking up every day without pain and stiffness. That's not just luck. That's the result of the choices you make now, starting with what you put on your plate and in your glass. As we continue looking at the foods that quietly steal health after 50, one of the biggest traps lies in something most of us grew up with: refined carbohydrates, white bread, pastries, donuts, pancakes, crackers, sugary breakfast cereals. All of them look innocent, even comforting. They remind us of childhood breakfasts, Sunday mornings, or family gatherings. But for someone over 50, refined carbs are a silent energy thief. Here's why. Refined carbs are stripped of fiber and nutrients. They digest quickly, turning almost instantly into sugar in the bloodstream. At first, this feels like a burst of energy, but soon after, blood sugar crashes, leaving you tired, sluggish, and craving more. It becomes a cycle: eat, crash, crave, repeat. Over time, these sugar spikes damage the body. Insulin has to work harder to manage blood sugar, and this constant strain increases the risk of type 2 diabetes. For older adults who already have a slower metabolism and reduced insulin sensitivity, refined carbs can be especially harmful. Picture this. You grab a bagel for breakfast, maybe with some cream cheese. An hour later, you feel hungry again, even though you just ate. By lunch, you're craving something sweet to pick yourself up. That's not lack of willpower. It's the way refined carbs hijack your body. In the long run, this leads to weight gain, more belly fat, and higher cholesterol levels. Belly fat especially is dangerous after 50 because it's linked not only to heart disease but also to memory problems and inflammation in the body. So what's the alternative? Instead of white bread, go for whole grain bread that's rich in fiber. Instead of sugary cereal, try oatmeal with nuts and berries. Instead of pastries, enjoy Greek yogurt with fruit. These choices may sound small, but they keep your blood sugar stable, give you lasting energy, and protect your heart. Over time, the difference is enormous. You feel lighter, your mind stays sharper and your risk of chronic disease drops significantly. Now let's talk about another favorite indulgence: fried foods, crispy chicken, French fries, onion rings, fried fish. All the golden, crunchy comfort foods that have been part of American diners and fast food culture for generations. They may taste like heaven in the moment, but inside your body, they're doing the opposite. Fried foods are cooked in oils that become unstable at high temperatures. This creates harmful compounds and unhealthy fats that build up in your arteries, raising bad cholesterol and lowering good cholesterol. For someone over 50 whose arteries may already be less flexible, this combination is a recipe for clogged blood vessels and reduced circulation. Think of your arteries as flexible garden hoses when you're young. They can handle pressure, they can bend, and water flows easily. But over time, with unhealthy foods like fried chicken and fries, those hoses become stiff and narrowed, clogged with buildup. The heart has to pump harder to push blood through. That's why fried foods are directly linked to heart disease, strokes, and even certain cancers. For older adults who may already have high blood pressure or cholesterol, fried foods accelerate the problem dramatically. Let's imagine a weekend meal. You sit down at a diner, and the plate comes out with golden fries, a fried chicken sandwich, maybe even some fried mozzarella sticks. It looks comforting and it tastes satisfying, but the cost is high. After 50, your digestion slows, so these heavy meals sit in the stomach longer, making you feel bloated, tired, or sluggish for hours. Your body has to work twice as hard to break down the fats, and much of it ends up stored, not burned. Now imagine swapping those fries for a baked sweet potato wedge, or grilled chicken instead of fried. The taste might not have the same initial crunch, but your body feels lighter, your arteries stay clearer, and your heart beats with less strain. What's important to remember is that fried foods don't just harm your heart, they also affect your joints and brain. The inflammation triggered by fried oils spreads throughout the body, worsening arthritis and even increasing the risk of memory decline. For someone over 50 who wants to stay active, sharp, and mobile, fried foods are a heavy weight pulling them backward. Giving them up isn't about sacrifice, it's about choosing energy, mobility, and independence for years to come. And then there's perhaps the sneakiest villain of all: trans fats. Unlike fried foods or sugary drinks, trans fats often hide in plain sight. They're found in packaged snacks, margarine, baked goods, frozen pizzas, and even microwave popcorn. They were originally created to extend shelf life and improve texture, but inside the body, they act like poison. Trans fats not only raise bad cholesterol, but also lower good cholesterol, doubling the damage. They're considered so harmful that the FDA has moved to ban them, but they still appear in certain foods under different labels, often disguised as partially hydrogenated oils. For someone over 50, eating trans fats is like pouring glue into your arteries. They stick, they clog, and they don't let go. Studies show that even small amounts increase the risk of heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. But beyond the physical, they also affect how you feel day to day. Many people report feeling sluggish, bloated, or mentally foggy after eating foods high in trans fats. Over time, this can rob you of energy, make exercise harder, and slow down memory and concentration. Picture opening a bag of cookies at night, telling yourself you'll just have one or two. Before you know it, half the bag is gone. You go to bed feeling heavy, you wake up groggy, and the cycle repeats. That's the hidden cost of trans fats. The good news? Once you start reading labels and avoiding them, your body responds quickly. Energy improves, digestion becomes easier, and blood pressure often lowers within weeks. Replacing processed snacks with whole foods, like nuts, fruit, or even dark chocolate in moderation, gives you the satisfaction without the silent damage. When we look at refined carbs, fried foods, and trans fats, the common thread is clear. They give quick comfort but cause long-term harm. After 50, the body doesn't bounce back as easily. Every choice you make either builds strength and energy or takes it away. By saying no to these foods, you're not losing out. You're gaining years of mobility, clarity, and independence. And the truth is, once you begin to feel the difference, the cravings fade. What once felt like comfort begins to feel like a burden, and you realize the greatest comfort comes from waking up each day with energy, health, and freedom. Alcohol has always carried a complicated role in life. For many, it's tied to memories of celebration, New Year's toasts, Thanksgiving dinners, birthdays, weddings. In American culture, it's also become a way to relax after a long day. A glass of wine with dinner, a beer during a football game, or a cocktail at happy hour feels harmless, almost normal. But the truth is, once you cross 50, alcohol affects your body in ways it never did before. The liver, which works like the body's built-in filter, has already processed decades of meals, medications, and environmental toxins. By the time you're 50, it's not operating at the same efficiency it once had. Alcohol lingers longer in the bloodstream. The buzz comes faster, but so do the side effects: dizziness, poor coordination, and restless sleep. You might notice that hangovers, which once faded in a few hours, now last the entire next day. For older adults, that grogginess isn't just inconvenient, it's risky. Slower reaction times, dehydration, and fatigue all raise the chances of falls and accidents, which can be far more dangerous in later years when bones are more fragile and healing is slower. Beyond the immediate effects, alcohol quietly wears down vital organs. Regular drinking, even at what seems like moderate levels, increases the risk of liver disease, high blood pressure, heart disease, and certain cancers, particularly in the digestive tract. The brain also pays the price. Studies show that heavy drinking accelerates memory decline and increases the likelihood of dementia. And even small amounts can disrupt sleep cycles, which are already more fragile with age. You might fall asleep faster after a glass of wine, but the sleep is light, fragmented, and far from restorative. Think of a typical evening. You come home, pour yourself a drink, and enjoy that instant sense of relaxation. But by 2 a.m., you're awake, staring at the ceiling, unable to slip back into deep sleep. Morning comes, and instead of feeling refreshed, you're groggy and irritable. Compare that to an evening routine without alcohol, maybe a warm cup of chamomile tea, some light reading, or a short walk outdoors. You fall asleep naturally, sleep deeply, and wake up clear-headed. Over time, these nightly choices decide how much energy you carry into your days, how sharp your mind remains, and how resilient your body feels. Cutting back on alcohol isn't about saying no to joy. It's about saying yes to a better tomorrow, with more strength and clarity. Now let's turn to something that sneaks into almost every meal without us realizing it: salt. Sodium is everywhere. It's in potato chips, pretzels, deli meats, canned soups, frozen dinners, salad dressings, fast food fries. The list goes on. Salt is addictive. It sharpens flavors and makes us crave more. But after 50, excess salt is like adding constant pressure to a machine that's already working overtime. When you eat too much salt, your body retains water to balance the sodium in the bloodstream. This extra fluid increases the volume of blood flowing through your veins, which means your heart has to pump harder. Day after day, year after year, this extra pressure stiffens the arteries, raises blood pressure, and damages the delicate inner lining of blood vessels. That's why high sodium intake is directly linked to strokes, heart attacks, and kidney disease. For younger adults, the kidneys often manage the excess fairly well. But after 50, kidney function naturally declines. Sodium builds up more easily, making blood pressure harder to control. You might notice swollen ankles at the end of the day, rings feeling tighter, or an unquenchable thirst. These are your body's warning signs that it's holding on to more salt than it can handle. The tricky part is that the biggest sodium sources aren't always obvious. One bowl of canned soup can contain nearly an entire day's worth of sodium. A single fast food meal can double it. Even bread, breakfast cereals, and sauces quietly add hundreds of milligrams without you noticing. Over time, this silent overload raises the risk of stroke or heart disease, even in people who otherwise feel healthy. Picture a classic American lunch: a deli sandwich, a bag of chips, and maybe a soda. That meal alone could pack more sodium than your body should have in a whole day. You might not feel the damage immediately, but your heart, arteries, and kidneys are all under pressure. Now imagine a different lunch: grilled chicken with whole grain bread, fresh vegetables, and a side of fruit. Still satisfying, but far lighter on sodium. Instead of straining your body, you're fueling it with foods that help lower blood pressure naturally. It's not about living without flavor. Herbs like basil, oregano, dill, and spices like paprika, black pepper, or turmeric add richness without the burden of sodium. A squeeze of lemon or a drizzle of olive oil can transform a dish. Once you retrain your taste buds, natural flavors come alive and the heavy saltiness of processed foods begins to feel overwhelming. By choosing fresh, less processed meals, you not only lower your risk of serious illness, you also rediscover how good real food can taste. And then there's red meat. Few foods are as tied to American tradition as a backyard barbecue with burgers and steaks sizzling on the grill. Red meat is rich in protein, iron, and vitamin B12, all important nutrients. But after 50, too much red meat brings risks that outweigh the benefits. It's high in saturated fat, which raises LDL cholesterol and promotes plaque buildup in the arteries. Over time, this leads to narrowed vessels, higher blood pressure, and greater chances of heart disease or stroke. But the effects don't stop with the heart. Excess red meat, particularly processed forms like hot dogs, bacon, or sausages, is linked to colon cancer. In fact, the World Health Organization has classified processed red meats as carcinogenic. The risk grows with age, as the digestive system becomes less resilient. Red meat is harder to break down, requiring more stomach acid and digestive effort. For older adults, this can lead to bloating, discomfort, and slower metabolism. Inflammation is another concern. Diets high in red meat trigger inflammatory responses in the body. For someone already dealing with arthritis, joint stiffness, or chronic pain, this can worsen symptoms. Inflammation also contributes to conditions like diabetes and even cognitive decline. Picture a summer holiday. The grill is fired up, the table is set, and everyone's enjoying burgers and steaks. You fill your plate, savoring every bite. Hours later, though, you feel heavy, tired, maybe even uncomfortable. The food sits like a rock in your stomach, stealing your energy for the rest of the day. Now imagine choosing grilled salmon, marinated chicken, or even a hearty bean burger. You still enjoy the flavor and the company, but afterward you feel light, satisfied, and ready to keep enjoying the evening. This isn't about eliminating red meat completely. It's about moderation. Having a lean cut of steak once in a while, paired with vegetables and whole grains, can be part of a balanced diet. But making it a daily habit, especially with processed forms, builds risks over time. By shifting toward more plant-based proteins, fish, poultry, and beans, you give your body the nutrients it needs without the heavy burden of saturated fats and inflammation.